So we left off yesterday on chapter 5. So before we get started on who would like to just share, because all of you are kind of in different places, and we had read to self time yesterday, and then you read last night for homework, I'm assuming. So would anyone just like to share maybe their favorite part that they read last night, and then we'll go through chapter by chapter.
I read miscellaneous.
All right, go ahead, Ollie.
When the girl was writing the math problem for Rufus, but the teacher got it, and then he answered the question if they sold a toothpaste for 1 year for 2 years and a half, they will get $2.5 million.
Okay, what chapter was that in?
Chapter 6 or 5.
Oh, okay. All right, anybody else want to share a favorite part?
Well, I read the whole book yesterday, but didn't pass it.
On the reading counts?
Yes.
Did you miss it by one question?
Yes, if I got one more right, I would pass it. But
Okay.
I was in the sixth grade.
So when we reread and talk about it, then that could help you, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was when they made the commercials. I don't know if they read to that part yet, but they started making commercials.
Did you
That
see
was my
that part?
favorite part.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
all right. Dontavius?
More reading. My favorite part is when
Maybe look in the camera. Can you
is
see it?
when Kate met a man named Hector, and she was looking at a place that was for rent, and Hector was sitting on a bench, and she was about to leave, but then Hector stopped her.
Okay. Did anybody else read to the part where Hector was?
I read the entire
Well, yeah,
book, so
I
I
read the
remember
whole book,
Hector.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember Hector.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to share? Okay. So let's go ahead and read and discuss as we go through. All right, chapter 6, another math problem. Before I finished breakfast the next morning, there was a knock on the door. It was Rufus. He was very excited. Kate, he said, do you know what the population of the United States is? No, I said. I never know things like that. My father looked up from his paper. According to the most recent census, over 200 million, he said to Rufus. My father always knows things like that. You're right, Rufus said, and by now it must be even bigger. Probably, my father said. The growing population is a very serious matter. Have you thought much about that problem, Rufus? Not yet, Mr. McKinstry, Rufus said. At the moment, I was thinking mainly about toothpaste. I was thinking that everybody in the United States probably uses about 1 tube of toothpaste a month. Probably, my father said. And if they do, Rufus said, how many tubes of toothpaste are sold in a year? My father thought for a second. Roughly 2.5 billion tubes. Right, Rufus said. I hate people who can multiply in their heads. Except that my father and Rufus are two of the people I like best in the world. How do you explain that? I really don't like math at all, even when I have a paper and pencil and all the time in the world to figure something out. So if you were in this conversation with Kate right here, would you agree with her or disagree, and why?
I would disagree because I love math, and multiplying in your head is meaning that you've grown and you can solve problems that you already know.
I agree and disagree with Kate in the book because math helps you in your life because, like, if you have a kid and then they're like 4th grade, 5th grade, and they have like a multiplication problem and they need help, and you wouldn't know the answer for it and help them, and you wouldn't know how to solve it out.
But you do have a calculator.
I disagree with her.
I disagree with Kate because math is basic problem solving, and in our lives, we do a lot of problem solving. And if we can't problem solve, we won't have a future.
I disagree with Kate.
Put it up to your mouth so that we
I
can.
disagree with Kate because math is good for you, and multiplying your head means then paying attention and think without math and then be able to count.
Okay. Now, what Kate said in the book was that she hates people who can multiply in their heads. Do you think she really means that she hates them?
No, she's just like, yeah, I don't want to hang out with them. Not like she doesn't loathe them. She won't laugh at their death. She will mourn
Because she says, what does she say that makes us know that she's really kind of, the word is facetious. It means like where you say something and you don't really mean it the way that it sounds. How do we know that she really didn't mean that she hates them? Look at that page 26. It's on page 26. Luke, I asked you yesterday to have your book with you so that you can discuss with us. Grab it. Because I'm wanting us all to look at page 26, where she says, I hate people who can multiply in their heads. How do we know that she doesn't really mean that? Do you have it, Ollie? Page 26? What do you think, Dontavius?
When she says that, she says, "Or I hate people who can multiply in my head." And then she says her father. Then she said she actually loves her father, Lucas.
Oh, okay. Pass it to. Let's get your food out.
And in the book it says, except that my father and Rufus. It says, I hate people who can multiply in their heads, except that my father and Rufus are two people that I like in the world.
Yeah, so it's kind of like she says that, but she really doesn't mean it. That was good evidence, Daniel. Okay. Facetious. Learned a new word. And at the same time, I look forward every day to Mr. Conti's math class. And how do you explain that, since that's the class where I'm always getting in trouble? For example, the same day my father brought up the population explosion, there's Mr. Conti in math class saying, Kate McKinstry, would you please bring me that note? So this is the part you were talking about, Ollie? Mm-hmm. Well, it isn't exactly a note, Mr. Conti. I see, said Mr. Conti. I suppose it's another math problem. It looks like a math problem, Mr. Conti. The message from Rufus was that Mr. Conti got to read that day said, if there are 2.5 billion tubes of toothpaste sold in the U.S. in 1 year and 1 out of 10 people switch to a new brand, how many tubes of the new brand would they be buying?
You know what? I think we should solve that problem together during math because it sounds
Very different.
So how do you
actually
think, so does the book give us the answer?
Yes, but I forgot the answer.
It's just right there.
What does it say?
The right answer is 250 million.
So you're not wanting to hear it, Luke?
Yeah.
So we certainly could do the math to see if our math would agree with their math, right? How do you think we would solve that?
That's
Let's go back to the problem. Can you see it?
79.
It says 2.5 billion tubes of toothpaste sold in the U.S. in 1 year, and 1 out of 10 people switch to a new brand. How many tubes of the new brand would they be buying?
I think it would be.
You need to stop. Look at me. If you're going to be in this book club, you are ignoring the camera.
That is a hard question.
And you need to have your book and be discussing with us.
I think it will be.
So do you have your book? Okay, let's turn to where we are, which is page 27.
I think it will be 79 times how much toothpaste they got. I mean, like they sold.
So why 70? Why would you use 79?
Because that's how much one. That's how much one tube costs.
Okay. So is the question asking us for a cost? Let's go back and look at it. Page 27.
They're asking for the how much money they'll make.
Let's see. Go back to that question and let's see. Page 27. Jackson said this is tricky. Let's see what
It
the
is.
question is that they're asking us. Could you read us the problem, Ollie?
If there is 2.5 billion tubes of toothpaste sold in the U.S. in 1 year, and 1 out of 10,
I just figured it out.
What? Why are you saying, oh?
because 1 out of 10 people, the people which
Switches to new brand.
Okay, so that's kind of what they want to know in this question. You might be thinking ahead. Let's go on and let's keep reading and see. Then there was a second part to the note. If the inventor of the new toothpaste made a profit of 1 cent on a tube of his toothpaste, what would his profit be at the end of a year? Do you know what profit means? What is profit?
$2.50.
I'm not asking for an amount, but I'm just asking. It tells us that if the toothpaste inventor made 1 cent for every tube of toothpaste. So what does the word profit mean, Luke? Pass that to Luke.
Money you make. Money you make.
money you make.
Okay, so the money that you would make. So if you were making a product like toothpaste, would you have a cost to make the product?
Yes.
What? Some of it, Ollie is doing a lot of talking, which is great. I love that. But is there someone that hasn't got a chance to talk that would like to weigh in on that?
I'm going to say
Dante
Francisco.
No, Francis.
Francisco,
He doesn't talk that much.
if you're creating a product that you're going to sell, is it going to cost you money to create the product?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yes, because you want need to get the stuff that you need so you can sell it.
So what did they need for the what did he need for the toothpaste?
The ingredients. Like
Yeah, the ingredients.
It's kind of like
Go ahead.
a quiz trade because you have to buy the stuff and then you have to sell the stuff,
Okay.
and you could be putting it on the same price.
So what do you mean when you say it's like a quiz trade?
What I mean is, so say I had some gummies. I bought the gummies for $1, and then somebody wants them, and I sell them for $1. And if more people want them, I can probably make more of the same copy of it,
So
and then sell it.
So let me ask you, think about what he said. So if he had those gummies and he bought them for $1 and then he sold them, say he bought them for $1, then he sold them to Daniel and Daniel gave him $1, would he be making any profit?
No. Well, yeah. Wait.
Who near him?
Would Ollie make a profit if he bought these gummies for $1
No.
and then you paid him $1 for him? Will he get profit?
What does profit mean outside?
What is-
Profit, it's the money you make.
No.
Let's say, alright, so Ollie, alright, so Daniel gave, Ollie money to pay for these little fruit snacks. So, Daniel gave his profit to Ollie so that Ollie could pay for the gummy snacks. So Ollie basically Daniel basically gave Ollie his profit. So Ollie received the profit and used it to buy that. So Ollie receives the profit.
Technically, I say no, because if I paid it for the same amount and you get the same amount back, you still have the same amount of money.
So would you have made any money?
No.
I know why. He didn't make any money because if I give him $1 for the fruit snacks, and then he's gonna use it to buy more, and then when he sells it to another person, he's gonna get the same amount and then use it again.
So what would Ollie need to do with his fruit snacks? Hand it to Dontavius because I think he's got it in his head.
I got it.
Hand it to Dontavius, let him have a turn. So what would Ollie have to charge Daniel for these fruit snacks to get a profit?
More than it's $2.
All right, if he charged $2, would that be a profit?
Yes.
What would the profit be? How much money would he make off of them?
Oh wait.
He bought them for $1. He sold them
Let's
for
say
$2.
I have $52.
But the tax is $1, so he would pay him $2.
I will have, if I have 52 and I bought the gummies for $1 and then he gave me the $2, I would have 53 instead of 52. So I do
We
get
can
money.
magnify the
That's
range
okay.
for the person.
So I do get money.
So you would
Then.
make for that one pack of gummies, how much money profit would you make?
I'll make $1
Why not $2?
because if I do $2, then I would have told him it's $3
Okay.
because
Because
if
what do you have to take off what did you have to subtract out of what
one.
why?
Because if you subtract 1 from the amount you already have, you get 1 less. And then if he paid me 2, I would add 1 more and then another 1.
Okay, so can anyone, I understand what Ollie's saying, but it's not totally clear to me. So if he bought the gummies for $1 and then Daniel gave him $2 for the gummies, then why would he only make $1?
Oh.
Someone besides Ollie.
Hello.
What do you think?
I
I think Don Tapes has an idea. Go ahead. Take a risk.
You never speak. Come on. Break a wrist. Speak loud.
So just sit back just a little bit.
Oh, if I speak
Wait.
loud,
Do you have an idea?
speak proud. Don't be quiet at all.
Speak proud and loud.
You forgot name.
We can come back.
Hey, give
Okay.
it to Luke. He had it.
Alright, so
You've already explained it, so let's see if someone can clarify what you said. You weren't wrong.
All right. So what are we talking about here? Oh no.
So if he sold his gummies to Daniel for $2 and he paid $1 for them, why would he only have $1 profit?
Because, so, like you said, Ollie sold his gummies to Daniel, which Daniel paid Ollie $2 for, because Ollie sold them to Daniel. So, and Ollie paid at least what did he pay, like $1?
Mm-hmm.
He paid $1 for the gummies. So the $2 that he made Ollie would earn the profit, and Daniel would get
What
the
would be
gummies.
his profit?
What?
What would be his profit?
$2.
Oh, because
No.
of the tax.
We disagree
tax
with
is
that.
No,
There's
it
a
will be-
tax? You never
No,
told me there was
we
a
weren't
tax.
talking about tax.
there wasn't a tax because
Why is it only $1 profit?
it's only $1 profit because 52 minus
Let's
1.
not do the 52. We're just talking about the
Since when were
$1 that
you
you.
never told me enough.
There's
We've
no
never been
tax.
doing taxes, Luke.
Luke,
Then where did 52 come in?
Luke.
From my money.
Okay, look at me. I'm giving you a warning about that camera. Do you understand my warning?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't
Go
understand.
ahead, Daniel. I mean, Ollie.
Alright. So what I mean is, like, what's 2 plus 1? 3.
That was easy.
Alright. Then what's 52 plus 3?
55.
Minus 1.
54.
Then that's how much money I made.
Where's the 52 coming from?
Oh, wait.
That's what I'm
That's what I'm confused about.
When I'm saying when the 52 comes out, I'm just making like an idea.
You're making up an amount, but let's take that amount out. So here's what I think Ollie's trying to say, and I'm just going to make it a little bit clearer. If he sold his gummies for $2, but he had to pay $1 to the store to buy the gummies, then his profit is $1 because he has to take out the cost of the product.
I thought that he bought it first.
He did buy it first.
Look, from
What you gotta do is when say I got it, so I minus $1. There's one minus $1, and if I say it's $2, then all you gotta do is minus 1 from 2, and then it's 1.
Exactly. All right, so let's keep reading. So as we think about the story, Rufus has to think about these concepts, doesn't he, as he becomes a businessman. And it turns out that the inventor of this new toothpaste would make $2.5 million in profit.
which is
Wow.
250.
$2 million. That means 2,500,000 because it's 2.5 million.
We could make a dream house. Back in the day.
Well, he probably was. All right, let's see. Chapter 7, The Joe Smiley Show. Well, that's how Rufus's toothpaste business started, with Rufus figuring out that if he sold the
This
toothpaste...
is what Jackson was just talking about, that show.
Okay, so that's the part we're on now. With Rufus figuring out that if he sold the toothpaste for only a penny more than it cost him to make, it cost him about 2 cents a tube, that he'd soon have millions of customers. So he's saying he's only going to sell it for a penny more than it cost him to make. And it says it cost him about 2
That's just like I was
cents a
saying.
tube.
I gotta say something about the sensor.
All right, go ahead.
When it says it cost him about 2 cents a tube, that he soon have a million customers, I think I know why he probably will have. Because it's so cheap.
Luke, go ahead, man.
It's so cheap. People have the money to buy like 10 of them.
Ah, so the cheapness. No, I'm not leaving. In my drawer, Mr. Roberts. So the cheapness of the tubes of toothpaste would make people want to buy it.
Yeah, because it's so cheap, they could buy like 100 of them.
Yeah, okay. He had to start in a small way, of course. When he started his business, Rufus packed the toothpaste in baby food jars. A baby food jar holds about as much as a big tube, and the jars didn't cost him anything. So why would he want to have the packaging not cost him anything?
So he didn't really need to use his money for the jars or toothpaste bottles.
Okay, I think someone over there wanted to say something. Not being foolish.
Let's think about postage stamps. We all have to pay for. So let's say an object.
Pretty neat.
Thanks. So let's see. Like, you know how if you sent a small object in the mail, it would cost less than if you sent a big object because of the mass of it and the shipping cost. So what Rufus is trying to do is he's trying to lower the shipping cost by packing it into smaller things. And what he's doing is it'll have less mass. Wait, I remember
Well,
this
right
part.
here, we're at the baby food jar part, though. So really, he's just thinking about his packaging being free. Daniel,
Yes.
you're thinking
later
ahead.
in the book, I'm
Don't-
thinking
all
ahead.
right, you're thinking ahead. That's kind of why going ahead can be
Mr. Roberts
problematic.
liked my tweet.
He did.
This
Go
is
ahead.
from the time when we went on our field trip. Remember when me and Francisco went to the candy shop
Mhm.
and we got like 14
Yeah.
or 15 things for just $1
Yeah.
because they're so small and they have little mass.
Okay.
I gotta. To what you said.
Okay.
So what he was saying is, the bigger the mass, the more money it costs. The smaller the mass,
I have something.
the less money it costs. And there's a part that brings back what I was saying about the one from the $2 and the $1. So he's making 2 cents for them because it's tiny, like really tiny, and plus when he bought it for 1 cent each,
Was his cost 1 cent or 2 cents?
his cost.
His cost is on page 28.
Page 28.
I have something.
Hold on, let's go back in the text and check the cost. Francisco?
Wait.
Well, let Francisco have a chance. He hasn't
The
said much.
cost was 2 cents.
Can you read that to us?
They said, wait.
Well, that's how Rufus Toothpaste's business started, with Rufus figuring out that if he sold the toothpaste for only a penny more than it cost him to make, it cost him about 2 cents a tooth.
Okay. All right, we've got to finish up here, so we'll stop here and you guys finish up what you want to say.
All right, so everybody's gonna have.
Okay, I gotta have to add what Ollie says. When he said that the bigger the money goes up, when it's smaller, it goes down. I remember something from math. It said 5 or more raise the score, 4 or less get the rest.
So you're thinking about estimating.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
All right, go ahead.
So what I wanted to say, remember when he said that he got a bunch of candy just for $1? It's the same thing like when I got the gummy for only 25 cents. The smaller it is, the less it costs, the bigger it is, the more it costs.
So I'm going to leave you, hold on, because we've got to go. It's end. So I want you to think about this, because this is interesting. You guys are kind of thinking that if it's small, then it's going to be less price.
Like if it's a diamond, diamonds are small, but they cost a lot.
Okay.
What? This is something he brought up. You remember when you said the gummies, 25 cents?
Yep.
But the goldfish was tinier and it cost 35 cents.
So there's a lot of math in this book, isn't there, to think about? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
All right, so this weekend,
Oh shoot, I shot.
so we're leaving off together. Hold
I
on.
got shots too.
Hold on, come back, boys. We're leaving off on chapter 7. So what I would say is go back and read 7 and 8, and that's what we'll discuss on Monday.
Wait.
Okay, for this weekend. Is everybody committed to that?
Yes.
So, Luke, since you've read the whole book, go back and reread 7 and 8 so that you're up with what we're thinking about when we discuss on Monday.
I'm
All
gonna have
right.
to read for a whole weekend.
All right, say something.
It's the little time.